and welcome to Shelby Township Parks and Recreation. I'm Joe Youngblood. With me is Carrie Crozier, supervisor of the Burgess Shadbush Nature Center and park supervisor at Riverbends Park. Carrie, fall here in Michigan, we got a lot of good things going on over at the Nature Center. First, let's start out with, a lot of people come to Michigan and they always like to go up north for the beautiful colors. You can head right over to Riverbends Park and see some beautiful colors.
Absolutely. Everybody talks about the New England states with their colors, Joe, but you know what? We here in Michigan have it also, and fortunately, we've got a bunch of it right here in the parks. And many of our parks have these good colors, and just a few examples with good walkways, paved walkways, is Whispering Woods Park has great colors. The Municipal Pond, Heritage Pond in Maystecker Park. Yeah, good pathway, awesome color, You
mentioned Whispering Woods. A lot of people don't realize some of the pathways through the back of there going through. It's like going through a tunnel, trees on both sides, beautiful pathway back there.
It's not a lot of acres, but when you get in that back corner, you'd be surprised the size of the trees that are in there. I mean, they're not old growth trees, but they're still very large, mature trees. Yes, and you're walking in a canopy, and it's up north, man. It's all good.
Well, and Carrie, you mentioned Maystecker Park Heritage Gardens.
Bingo.
We have a newer trail that was built there a year ago, which we call the Onyx Trail, just east of the park, but it's connected just east of the ball fields. And that trail is beautiful, all cut through the woods, starts heading south down towards Cherry Creek Golf Course, loops back up. What a beautiful path there in trees.
It's not a paved surface, but it's got a good hard surface with the material that the grounds foreman's put down, so it's a stable surface.
It is.
And as in most of our other parks, it's walking through the wooded environment, it's quiet, there's birds, it's just awesome,
Yeah, more and more people are using that for walking, jogging.
Exactly.
You take a stroll around there, it's firm enough.
It's very firm enough.
Yeah.
We're talking about birds, Holland Ponds. The colors are out right now starting, but also we're starting to see some not usual birds we see there in the way of waterfowl, ducks. We're getting some migratory ducks that are starting to come through on their trip south, and these are unique ones that we don't usually see, and we have a lot of outdoor enthusiasts, Audubon people that actually come in just to look at these ducks. So that's really turning on right now. And lastly but not least, the 22-mile unit of the Riverbends Park. We've got some maples in that parking lot that are starting to turn red, starting to turn orange. And for the next week, 10 days, it's going to be fantastic. Definitely. Fantastic.
Now, Carrie, you mentioned the ducks coming through. This would be the only time of year we'd see them because they're migrating to the south. Will they hang out there for a little bit on the way down south?
Well, that area has made a great recovery. And it has a water treatment plant there, which discharges 80-degree water. So at the one pond at the total end of the road, you'll see a pond there and the building behind it. There isn't always open water there. So most of the winter, if not all of the winter, depending on how severe, there's open water. So you'll always still have the ducks there, a variety. Some will stay, some won't. Geese all the time. But anytime you have open water, you'll have waterfowl. And for the most part, they'll be there for a while.
Yeah.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Very good. Now you mentioned 22-mile Riverbends Park and a new addition. We could call it an old disc golf course, but it's been refurbished.
Right.
What a big difference we have over there. And you want to touch on that, Karen?
John Managuchi and the disc golf guys have done a great job of laying out a new course for us. It's a little more challenging. It's in the stages of being completed. It's almost totally completed. The guys have done a great job of mowing and maintaining it. We had to make some changes because of the way the pathway was. We're getting more traffic. For safety reasons, we moved a couple holes. Plus, we had the interceptor drain go through there, so we tweaked a few holes. And the feedback we're getting from the disc golfers, they love it. Yeah. They love it. And the signage is improving. And it's just, I can't believe the input that we've got based on what we had gotten years past.
Right. The social media, we get a lot of input. And
exactly.
Unfortunately, it's been good things we've been hearing about the disc golf course.
Well, Joe,
you mentioned the signage, the new layout,
exactly.
Working with John, yourself,
the
and
challenge.
Mike Markath from the grounds department. You guys have done a wonderful job.
The challenge does it. You and I play ball golf, and you know that fun courses are fun, but challenging courses really bring the best out of you. And Riverbends is a challenging course, and it's gotten a little tougher. There's been some grumbling, but that's a kind of good grumbling because it's saying, well, that's not easy anymore. Well, yeah, now you got to work for it, And they're loving it. They're really loving it. It's been a positive.
And the signage you mentioned, I mean, that's the key to any type of course, whether it's ball golf or disc golf.
Flow, yes.
Having that course. So, yeah, if anyone's interested in the disc golf course, the new layout, Riverbends Park, You can give us a call, 731-0300. And also, as Kerry mentioned, John Maniucci, he's basically the liaison for our department in the disc golf world. We can pass on any questions that you have that we're not able to answer. And they host a lot of tournaments out there. They have different leagues. So
Absolutely.
It's a nice, it's also free. So
Yep.
you can't beat that.
Amateur pads and pro pads. So, you're not throwing from 500, yards away, They have the amateur pads too on some of these. So it's tailored for everybody to have fun.
Definitely.
Awesome.
Now, Kerry, in closing, over at the Burgess Shadbush Nature Center, we know we wrapped up the 8 weeks of camp, so everything went great there.
Awesome.
Any special events we have coming up?
We've got a couple of them coming up here, and one of them is Spider Mania, which is on the October 17th. It's coming up soon, so hopefully this makes the air so people can see it. But it's good for people to take and learn a little bit about spiders, work on their phobia a little bit. You ain't got to touch them, but it's kind of neat because it ties into Halloween season, and that's October 17th. And then we have our Haunted Nature Center. Now, we've geared that towards the little ones because everywhere you go,
Sure.
big kids got a scare palace everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
So we wanted something for the little ones, and we've designed it to where it's a little bit spooky but not gory. That is on the 23rd and 24th.
Okay.
So that's only a couple weeks away also.
Sure.
And what we'd like is when the parents come to do a walkthrough before they take their children through to make sure that they're able to handle this and they're not scared about this and having nightmares, because some kids, they develop faster than other ones, and it could be a little bit too much for them. But we encourage the parents to walk through first and see if their child's ready for it and come out and have some fun. We have some candy to give away during that event, so it's for the family. It's a good one for the kids.
And speaking of the Spider Mania, it's educational as well.
Absolutely.
And also the idea that it's around Halloween is perfect.
It falls in perfectly, Joe. One of the last things I'd like to touch on is we're going into the heart of the fall season, and it's boy and girl time for deer.
Okay.
And people, they see a few deer through the year, but in the fall time it really accelerates with deer crossings and car deer accidents. So we encourage people to be mindful of this, that if you see a deer, immediately start putting on the brakes, because you don't know, there could be a male deer following that, and there's been fatalities where some of these smaller gas economy cars, they'll actually go up the hood and come inside, and it could lead to a bad end. So please be conscious that we're going into boy-girl deer season.
Okay.
Be mindful, slow down, and
Very good point. Very good point.
It's all about safety, and if you're not safe, it's not worth it.
Well, and you're especially heading on Ryan Road
Oh my goodness.
when you have the woods on either side.
It's right in that river basin, and they travel through there so much. That's where a lot of the deer get hit.
Definitely.
Anywhere could happen, because there's a lot of still open land here in the township, but anywhere around that corridor of the Clinton River is even more so. So we want everybody to be safe and come on out to our parks and enjoy some of these great colors and stuff, and that's what it's all about, man.
Very good. And also we have the Halloween Spooktacular coming up, and this is a great event. We have the car decorating and the kids trunk or treat at that time. We also have a lot of different games to play. And we'd also like to thank our sponsors for this event, Henry Ford Health Systems and Genesis Credit Union. Give us a call at 731-0300 for more information on this wonderful event.
We also have a hay wagon ride at that event too, and that's very popular. So it's a great thing for the kids to come out daytime, have some fun, and
Definitely.
it's all good.
Very good. Well, Kerry, thanks for being on the show. We appreciate all the insight over at the Nature Center in Riverbends Park. And right after these messages, we'll be back with Michael Ward, Shelby Township resident who volunteers his time for many different runs here and for the Special Olympics. So, Kerry, thanks again.
Always a
We'll
pleasure.
be right back after these messages.
The picnic shelters at Riverbends Park are available for rent starting January 9th, 2012. Reservations for the Bittersweet, Hickory Grove, and Maple View shelter will be accepted for groups for the months of May through September. For available dates, please contact Shelby Township Parks and Recreation Department at 586-731-0300. Amenities include a number of picnic tables, 8 grills scattered throughout the main park area, playscape and disc golf course, horseshoe pits and volleyball nets. For more information and residential and non-residential fees, please call the Shelby Township Parks and Recreation Department at 586-731-0300.
Hello and welcome back to Shelby Township Parks and Recreation in the News. With us now as a special guest, we have Michael Ward, Shelby Township resident, and he donates all of his time to the local runs and donates to many different charities. The one we have coming up is the Veterans Run. Michael, thanks for coming on the show, and appreciate you getting the word out here. We know how important the veterans are and to our community and all around. So this event you have coming up, the Veterans Run, we know it's very popular, held right on the township grounds. So tell us a little bit about it and how this come about.
Well, this will be the third year. I was approached a few years back by Phil Randazzo and Rick Stathakis about the veterans wanting to do something additional. And they wanted to go a step further in that they also wanted to make an event where even those members that are handicapped and had injuries and all could walk or still getting involved. So they said, could we set up a nice course on the grounds and make it fully handicapped accessible and have some fun with it in the fall? And I went, sure. And that's what kind of kicked it all off. And
Nice.
and we do, as I said, we do a double loop around the township grounds. It's very pretty.
Yeah,
pretty
it's
run.
beautiful. So it stays on asphalt then for the most part.
And sidewalk.
Yeah.
You can be in a wheelchair, you could be in crutches. It doesn't matter.
That's great.
And make it fully accessible for everybody.
That's very nice. Because we know a lot of runs sometimes will go a little bit on the grass or through the woods. So that's a great idea. Now the veterans, obviously some of the money we see the Veterans Monument up there. When you mentioned Phil Randazzo and how much he does, so this is very important to the veterans group for this run.
Yes, this is a fundraiser for them to help put additional money into the Veterans Fund so that they can use it here locally for Shelby to enhance the monuments and other veteran-related groups. We're really lucky we have a guy named Phil Randazzo in this area because he supports people beyond just Shelby Township, the whole area.
Yeah, he does.
He works with people. I have a daughter that's a pharmacist down at the VA, and him and his wife are involved getting them down there, and she ends up with some of those people as patients of hers. So what a small world. Yeah, what a small world. You know?
Kidding. Now, how many runners do you guys usually get for the Veterans Run?
Well, this one popped up very quickly. In the second year, we went all the way up to about 125.
Oh, okay.
So we could have 250. It's anybody's guess, but everybody likes the fact that for the veterans, they get a free admission, and they can come out, and it's just a pretty course, and it's accessible. So you can always have someone else that's just a walker and come out for it as well.
Now, Michael, we know you're very well known in the Shelby Township area and Southeast Michigan for all the time you donate for the runs in the area. But how do you get the word out and the amount of people you have for your different races, for the Go for the Gold and the Jingle Bell Run and the Veterans? And I mean, they're always very successful. And what's the key to that?
Well, part of it is getting the word out up front, as far out in advance as you can. You can't go too far out. That's one of the big steps. I always make sure that it's posted on the web. We have various websites for each of the events. All of our race information is at all the Hansen stores, and that's the smartest thing anybody can do, putting on a walking and running event. Is Kevin and Keith Hansen are incredibly generous. They donate certificates for all the prizes for all the races, and that helps draw people in. And we just get it out through stories like this. The newspaper will pick it up. The local ones, like C&G and The Source, always do a pretty good job of running stories. And then part of it is I'm part of the new Race Directors Association from Macomb County, and we meet monthly, and we all support each other, and that just extends it way out to virtually, it's like long tentacles reaching out to the whole Southeast Michigan area, so we're drawing more and more people from the adjacent counties.
That's wonderful. Now you mentioned Hansen. This is the Hansen's running shop right there on M59?
Yes, the Utica store, well, all 4 stores that they have. But that's where we'll have our package pickup the day before the race.
Right there in M59.
And we'll do that for the Jingle Bell Run in December as well. And then all the flyers and stuff are there. And it's kind of funny to watch people in the store. They'll come in at the beginning of a month, and they'll go right down the line and look at all the racing, and they'll look at the race, who's putting it on in part, because they know people like myself. We have a lot of giveaways and a lot of good stuff. They look at, do I get a medal? Is it just an overall winner? And they decide the races for the month, and you'll be amazed how many people do that.
Really?
Yeah. Sign up. So
now, Mike, we know you're a businessman yourself, and the amount of time that you donate, it's amazing how you find the time to do this. I know you're traveling around a lot, and it's just wonderful that you can do that.
Well, I have to be extremely well organized with my time. My big things, I have the races that I'm involved with, and I have a program where I bring handicapped adults from Toronto, Canada, into Detroit once or twice a year. Summer baseball game and a winter hockey game. So it's a juggling act. I have to be that much more organized. So when I am in town, I'm getting stuff done. And a lot of it in the age that we live in, I can do it via, electronic. It's texting somebody or emailing or whatever else, and that's helped. But biggest thing is I have to be very well organized to keep things straight, and and then having a good support staff. That's one thing, and I've mentioned this before. We have Gene Lambert from Special Olympics. We have Joe Burns, local resident from Sterling, and myself. We're kind of the three people that are known as the race people. And we always help each other out. And you have a race, check with one of us three, or all three of us get involved because we want to make it successful.
Definitely. Now, one of the biggest charities you give to, Michael, is the Special Olympics, and that's very close to us here at Shelby Parks and Rec for the different groups we take, the Winter Olympics and Summer Olympics. And you mentioned Jean Lambert, and how involved she is with the Special Olympics, and also with your group you're bringing from Toronto. So it's very fitting that I know there's a special place in your heart for the Special Olympics, and I know all of our athletes really appreciate that.
Well, it's good to hit the different charities. I do one for Cattail Acres. It's a cat sanctuary for basically cats that have no home. So many people just dump animals, so I help support them. They get no support. Penrithing Center downriver for kids with multiple disabilities, with blind being a minimum. The veterans we help. And then there's about 4 or 5 other charities I'm extending it out this year to help additional ones. And I'm having better luck with sponsors, getting more of the companies in there. And I hope I can get more of that because that's a big thing for us, getting local sponsors.
Definitely.
So
it definitely is. Now, Michael, if somebody wants to register for the Veterans Run, how do they do it?
A couple different ways. Number one, you can go to eastsideracing.com. It's a very easy one, eastsideracing.com.
Okay.
You can register for that run. You can register for the Jingle Bell Run.
Just do it right online?
You can do it right online. There's a fee that goes, or you can pick up a form at the store and mail it in. It saves you a couple bucks with the registration fee part of it. And do it that way as well. If you go to the website, the Eastside Racing has both out there. We have one also for our race itself for the Jingle Bell Run. But you can also go to the site for the township, shelbytownship.org, and pick up the link for the Veterans Run as well.
Yeah, I see you got these nice cards made up here. And the Veterans Run Sunday, November 8th, 2015, and kicks off at noon.
Correct.
So obviously they show up before that. And then the other one you have coming up, the Jingle Bell Run, will be here before we know it.
Oh, yeah.
And the Jingle Bell Run is on Sunday, December 13th, and that's an earlier start, 9 o'clock a.m. You have some different proceeds for that one, of course. And now the Jingle Bell Run, where do they meet at, and where's the course for the Jingle Bell Run?
It's an incredibly beautiful course. People tell me that come from the area, it's the single prettiest course that they're on, running course.
Oh, that's great to hear.
For running and walking. We start at the senior center, so we have a nice warm building. We always provide free coffee for everybody. And then we take off through Shelby Junior High across the football field. And then we have a hole that we punch in the fence with the cooperation of Earl from Cherry Creek. He's a wonderful job of helping us. And we run the golf course to the north end. We pop a hole in the fence at May Stecker. And we take the park and the lake in on it. And we come back, a second loop coming back on the secondary part of the golf course. So there's no real overlap for most of it. And it's the most beautiful course
It is
to run.
Beautiful.
To run, yeah.
You just got to hope you have decent weather, eh?
That's always, but it's in December, and I've run the one
Sure.
in Baltimore before where it's been snowstorm I've been running in. So we try to make it as good as we can.
Definitely.
With the teamwork with David Danico and myself, local resident, making this all happen for the Jingle Bell Run to make sure we have as good of conditions. So
that's great. Well, Michael, once again, we appreciate you coming on the show, spreading the word, and all you do for the charities, donating all your time. Everyone here in Shelby Township really appreciates that. So we'll see you soon. Best of luck with the races. And if anyone has any questions on the races, Michael, is there a number to call or just go to the website?
They can contact me on my cell would be the easiest, 586-484-5523. We have one event I want to mention. We were not able to pull off the night run. We're going to do a glow run in October, and it was too short a notice for the golf course. So we're looking at doing it in spring, so everybody hang on. It'll be a night run on the Cherry Creek Golf Course. Beautiful setting that should be. And
now, what do they do night run? I'm not familiar with that. How do they
we'll
light
have
it up?
These,
or?
We have these glow sticks we'll put along the course, and we'll have a big giant party atmosphere at the end,
Nice.
with an adult area, and we'll have things for the kids to do and all. It's started right now. There's a series called the Fairway Series. It's coming up at Pine Trace in Troy and Shepherd's Hollow up in, Clarkston. Yeah. And then Cherry Creek's part of that consortium, that the gentleman that owns those. So he's doing a series on November 7th and 14th, and then hopefully those are successful during a regular day run, and those are coming up real soon. Cards are available at Hanson's as well, and then hopefully that'll lead us to spring, and we'll do a night run.
That's right. Well, it definitely sounds pretty unique, the night run. It sounds like it'd be a great atmosphere.
And Special Olympics get a good portion of proceeds, so another
that's
race
wonderful.
to help.
That's wonderful. Well, thanks again, Mike, and thanks for being
Thank
on
you.
the show, and best of luck, and we'll
Appreciate
be talking to you soon.
All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for watching Shelby Township Parks and Recreation in the News. Please remember, here at Shelby Parks and Rec, we create community through people, parks, and programs. Thanks for watching.